Hey everyone, my name is Chris Lambert with Film Colossus, Narrative Experts, and I have my rank and review of Bullet Train. Bullet Train surprised me from some of the early reviews and conversation around the movie. I thought it was going to be Morbius levels bad, and it wasn't. It was good. It was enjoyable. I had no idea. I hadn't really watched the trailers. I didn't know it was going to be in the vein of A Smoking Aces or Lucky Number 11, two movies that I kind of really like the style of. I know Smoking Aces gets clowned on a lot, but I thought it was so much fun when it came out. It also reminds me in some ways of The Big Lebowski, just the main character getting swept up in this much larger plot, and they just want to do a very simple thing. Like with Big Lebowski, it's just like his rug, you know? And with Ladybug here, Brad Pitt, it's just wants to get off the train. He just wants to get off the train, and something so simple becomes so complicated. The performances were, I thought, the best part of this movie. Just the dialogue, the charisma of the cast was through the roof. And I had no idea where this movie was going to go. I actually thought it was a much better mystery than something like Death on the Nile was. I just, you kind of know, but you don't. It kept me guessing because I just wasn't sure what would happen next, which was very refreshing and enjoyable because something like Death on the Nile, I knew exactly what the whole story was going to be within the first 8 minutes of the movie, which makes the actual payoff really disappointing. The reason this ended up at 3 stars rather than say like 3.5, 4 is just I thought the subplots and the flashbacks were just a little ham-fisted at times. Like Bad Bunny did a great job acting in the movie, but the flashback to his backstory, I was just like, okay, okay. There was just so much in the way of flashback that there were times I thought the momentum dipped a little bit, and then the thematic concept of the movie in terms of like luck and fate actually was so omnipresent in this movie that it turns it from just like an action movie with some like talk of good luck to actually a fantasy movie that involves good luck, like a character whose life is actually affected by good luck. So while this is action, it's like action fantasy, which they don't really tell you, right? It just seems like it's a lock, stock, two smoking barrels, like Guy Ritchie kind of fun movie, but it's actually fantasy action without it being fantasy in terms of magic and dragons and that kind of Game of Thrones fantasy. But the way that luck actually impacts characters, the way that fate actually impacts characters in this movie, turns it from just simple action to simple fantasy. And I don't know, or not simple action to like soft fantasy kind of thing. But I don't know how I feel about that, especially with how, like at the very end, a little bit ham-fisted it kind of is at times. So it's like, as much as I liked the movie, I felt like it was still in some ways a little undercooked. Even though the performances were great, everything that they were doing was fascinating, there were just times where I was like, well, that was a little like weak, that was a little quick, that could have been developed more. I wish they would have focused a bit more on that. So it doesn't quite break through to the 3.5 for range, but it's still like a very solid movie. In terms of where I ranked it, it comes in at number 12 of 25, so a little over the halfway points. I put it above Prey because as much as I really enjoyed Prey, I feel like Bullet Train is the more just developed movie in terms of scope and scale. Like it felt like a much more accomplished film and much more confident film in terms of how many layers and threads and characters it was bringing together. Where my big complaint about Prey was that I just thought that it wasn't quite developed enough. A great core concept and like story, but it just felt a little too small, and like they had room to do more, but were maybe just a little scared to go a little bigger. With Bullet Train, they're going bigger, but I still think they could have gone like just a step further. So it's above Prey, but it's below Nope because I do think Nope leans into everything that it's doing a little bit more. As much as I had complaints about Nope not necessarily sticking the landing, it's just such a higher achieving and higher ceiling movie than something like Bullet Train, that Bullet Train, there's just no way it's going above Nope. So ends up at a hard 12, like not even in consideration to pass Nope. So Nope and Northman continue to kind of be like boss fights for all the movies that are coming out. We'll see what can rise above those and break into the top 10 at this point, but that's it for now. Until next time, cheers.